Hey guys, welcome back to the multiplayer checker games tutorial. Today we tackle the menu scene. Just like I promised, we do a nice little flow going on here. We also start writing down our game manager. We don't do the communication just yet. We can't really test the server and client just yet, but now we have a nice flow that is going to allow us to do that in the next episode. So as you can tell, we only have two buttons. Eventually what I feel like having is have the rail system going on. And just look at our board in 3D, just like, some good camera movement going on there. Maybe even had like some kind of blur. But yeah, I'm going a little bit too far. Let's talk about this episode. We have this little button here, one for hosting. When you're hosting, you create a server and you wait for another player. You can cancel, go back here, and then you can connect as well. And this is where we would send the connect to server request. Now we also have this back button, so as you can tell, just a nice little flow going on here. We did a lot of UI, but we also worked on our game manager a little bit. So guys, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so here we are with our four little scripts here. We are going to create a new scene by pressing on Control and N. Or, just do the new scene dialog at the very top left here. Save the scene. This is going to be the menu scene. And we're going to start laying down just some kind of normal UI. I'll also quickly just disable the skybox because I really do not like this one. Let me just go here and disable my skybox. Alright. So, we're going to be needing some kind of controller. So, what I'm seeing here for the menu scene is we're going to have like a button for hosting, a button just for connecting to somebody who's hosting, and just some basic UI stuff going on. But to have those buttons working and have some functions on the button, then we're gonna need some kind of controller, so a script that just knows pretty much everything and that contains the function we want to call. So we are going to just write down that script really quickly. This is going to be the game manager. Now game manager is going to be on top of a empty game object, which I'm simply going to name game manager. And we're going to put the script right on top of it. Now inside of the game manager, we're going to start by doing a don't destroy unload. So this object actually persists through all the scenes. So private void start or awake, depending on which one you like the base. I'll just use start here. In my start, I'll do a don't destroy unload and game object. So we're not destroying this game object unload, and let's also create a static instance of it so we can pretty much just call it from anywhere. So public static game manager instance, and we'll do a set get. In the start, I'll say instance is equal to this. Okay, so right now we have a nice base. What we are going to do at this point is we're going to create our function. So there is at least two functions we're going to need. There is going to be a button that says host and a button that says connect. So the first one is going to be connect. Let's try with that. A public void, make sure this is public because you need to call it from a button. And we'll call something like connect button or on connect button, depending on which one you feel just matches the most. And that is going to be for the connect. And then public void host button. Now right now we don't need to do anything just yet because I just want to lay down those two functions and just plug them in as soon as possible. So I'm simply going to do a debug.log in this one and a debug.log in this one. Okay, so we have our basic script. Let's actually start designing a little bit of UI, and hopefully this is not too painful for you guys. Let's go ahead and just create a new canvas as always. Let's create a let's go with a button, why not? And this is going to be the connect button, so let's just write that down, connect here, that's fine. Also, I forgot about the scaling. Let's actually have a good scaling going on. Back on the canvas, I'll use scale with screen size. Reference resolution is going to be like 1280 by 720. So 16:9, which is what I'm using here, I believe. Something like that. Okay, so we have our connect button. Let's just place it somewhere that makes a little bit more sense. So on the left hand side, it's going to have like a width of say 400. I'm feeling like this could actually look good if we just give it a little bit more love. Let's try with a bigger font. 35, this is the connect. Okay, so something like that actually works for me. What I plan on doing in the end is having like an Overwatch, just this kind of overlay, and eventually disable this image. But right now, let's just get it working. So on my button, let's go in the onClick event, the little plus sign here, drag and drop our game manager, and we're going to find the connect button. Here it is. Let's quickly duplicate that, just put it beneath. Where is it? It's right here. Put it beneath. This is going to be host, just like that. And let's also change the text. And finally, change the function that goes in here. So this is host button. Now when I boot the menu and I click on these buttons, as you can tell, we have the action down here. So that's a very good step. Okay, so when we click on connect, there should be another menu popping up with some information that you can input, such as where are you connecting exactly, and also what kind of port are you using. Not what kind of, what port are you using. For the hosting, the menu I'd like to have when I click on host is just something that says waiting for player. Because basically we're going to start hosting right there, and then we're just going to be waiting for the player, basically. Another player at least. So let's, I feel like wrapping these two in the same thing. This is going to be like the menu. Let me quickly just create a new empty canvas. Everything seems right here. Okay, and I'm going to put the connect and the host right in here. This is going to be the menu. And after that, I will create another object. This one is going to be a panel. This is going to be the connect. Now, what I mean by that, this is going to be the connect menu. You see like the whole thing, not an actual button like this one. They have the same name, but this is really just for the menu itself. So what I'm going to do with this is, let's just center it. Let's keep it simple. We're going to center it, give it like a width of, say, 550, why not? That sounds really accurate. And maybe 300. In here we'll be inputting information, so don't mind too much the overlap right now. What I'm going to do when I click on the button is disable these two guys, so we're not going to be able to see them anymore. So we can actually do that right now. Now inside of here, we are going to need quite a lot of things actually. Let's start with a input field. This is going to be the host input field, so host input, and just write it in a certain way that you can actually remember the name, because we're going to be reusing that game object using its name a little bit later on, just to know what's inside of this actual input field. Right, so let's play with these settings a little bit. Let's try to make it a little bit better looking. I'm going to go with a font size of 30 and actually just scale it up to say 15 height. We have a box that is 550, so maybe we can have an input field that is 400. And this is going to be the whole host address, right? So in the placeholder, I'll just type in something like localhost. And this is going to be like the text by default as well. So we have our input here. Now let's have something else. We are going to just, I'm simply going to put a label right here. So host input label doesn't have to, doesn't need to have this name specifically, but I'm going to be using it as a label for that object here. By simply doing something of the sort, just giving it the same exact size, and this is going to be the host address, something like that, and maybe change the font, and you can center it. I'll just leave it on the left side here. Looks a little bit better, I think, and give it some italic. Okay, so that's really all I need for this one. Alright, let's actually create another object. This time it is going to be a connect button. So I plan on having a connect and also a back button, because we're disabling the rest of the UI. So let's say that we meant to click on host instead. So I'd like to have a button that can actually go back to what we had. So what I'm going to do is give this a scale of 350. That's a little bit too big. Let's go with 300. That's still too big. Okay, 280. That sounds perfect. And I'm going to be placing this right around here. And on the left hand side here is going to be a back button. Let's give it the same exact width we gave to the other guys. So this is going to be my connect button. The text inside of here is going to be connect. Let's give it a bold and italic. Why not? I'll just bold. and then we are going to duplicate this, make it a little bit smaller, so maybe, what is it, to fill that gap it's going to be like 120. Let's move it here, and this is going to be a back button, so back button. Alright, so this is really all we need for a little UI here. Now of course we can place it a little bit better. As you can tell, it doesn't really match our panel in the end, but you know, you can play with the sizing as much as you want. So maybe something like that. Again, this is up to you, but this is the UI I chose. So we have our menu here, our menu that just, you know, you click on connect, it goes to this one. That's pretty much done. Now let's have a menu for hosting. So if you click on host, you're gonna have your own very menu here. But there's really nothing to do in that host menu. So what I'm going to just give the player as an option is, well, I'm going to tell him first we're waiting for another player. So we'll have just a panel with text on it that says waiting for player. And we'll also have a button to go back to the menu, same thing as the connect. So let's create a new, let's start with a panel, why not? Center it here, has a width of say 500 and maybe 100 in height. Inside of the panel, well, first let's name the panel host, and inside of that panel there is going to be text. This is going to be waiting for another player, ... And I'll just make sure this scales with the panel in the back. So something of the sort. And we'll move it, say, at the very top hand side here. Now what I said that I want with that is I also like to have a button to go back. So I'll just have it like a cancel button somewhere here. And that seems like it's gonna work. So let's call this cancel button. And inside of that button, we're gonna say cancel. Again, just modify the size as much as you want. I'm gonna go with a font size of say 25 in here. Maybe make the button a little bit bigger. You know, something like that is going to work. Okay, so we have the function for these two big buttons right here, but we don't have any function for this second connect button, and we don't have a function for both the back and cancel. They're going to be the same thing in the end, so we need a function for both of those. Let's actually go ahead and start coding them a little bit. Public void. Now we're going to need something else than connect button because this name is already taken, so let's call this connect to server button. Really obvious. Should have called I should have called the other function something different, just like menu connect button or menu host button. But that's also going to work here. So we'll have a function for that. Now let's go ahead and just do a public void back button. As simple as that. And we don't need two of those. I mean, the cancel and the back button, they're going to be doing the same thing in the end, so I'll just be calling the same function. Right. So let's quickly have a look at what exactly we need. We need to have a reference to those three menus so we can actually use the set active on every one of those. And we're going to start with that. Actually, let's not complicate things too much. We're going to start with these things here. So let's go to the very top. Do a public game object. And we're going to need three of those. First one is going to be the main menu. The second one is going to be the server menu, also known as the host. And the third one is game object connect menu. Let's quickly just assign those. So using my game manager here, I'll simply drag and drop in those new fields. That's my main menu right here. That's my connect menu and host. Okay, so we have a reference to those three things. Now, in the start, I'll actually shut all of them down except the main menu. So let's do server menu, set active to false, and also connect menu, set active also to false. When I boot the game now, I should only be able to see those two guys. Now, whenever I click on the connect button, that's the one in the menu, what I'm going to do is say main menu, set active, false. We're turning off the two buttons, and we're enabling the connect menu. So set active, true. Now for the host button, it's the same exact thing. So main menu set active, this one to false, and now it's the server menu, set active to true. And we're going to do a little bit more in here because, you know, we're going to start the operation, we're going to start booting the server in that function as well. But let's just give it a try right here. Press on play. And as you can tell, this works. Of course, the back button doesn't work just yet. And let's go check the host now. This also works. Now let's make our back button work. Back button again, super simple. Main menu set active, this one is now true. That's the one we go to. And since we don't really know which menu we're on, are we on the server menu or are we on the connect menu, we're just gonna turn them both off. So set active false for this guy, and also the connect menu set active to false as well. So we should have like a nice little flow going on when I forgot to put the function in those buttons, but once we do, we should have a nice flow going on. So let's put the button function. I'm on my cancel button for, what is this? This is the host menu. I'm going to add a event on the unclick, put the game manager in here, and this is going to be the back button. Same thing goes on for the connect menu. Let's choose the back button. Drag and drop the game manager in here, and this is also back button. Now connect as well. Game manager. And connect to server button this time. Cool, let's give this a try. We're hosting. Okay, this takes too long. Cancel. Go back here. Input some whatever text really. Oh, we need to scale up the text, by the way. And then click connect. Nothing happens here because we don't have anything in the function. Not even in debug.log, I think. Yeah, we really have nothing, but it's being called. We know it's being called. And the back takes us back to the actual main menu. Eventually, also, to make this main menu more attracting, what I'm going to do is just like do a little splash art and have the rail system going on there, just moving around the grid or something. It's going to be looking quite good. At least it does in my head. We'll see how it turns out a little bit later on. And this is where I'm actually going to end today's episode. So we have a nice UI flow going on. We start writing down our game manager. In the next episode, we are going to instantiate our client, that's for sure, and maybe also a host if you decide to be the host. I mean the server if you decide to be a host. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Please leave a like if you like this, or if you learned something, that'd be great. And you can also leave a comment in the comment section below. Other than that, please check out the Patreon page to support me in doing what I do here, in just doing tutorials, doing courses in the future as well. We're working on a course right now. It's going to be Unity, a free Unity course for new developers, which is also going to teach a little bit of C#. If you've never done C# before, it's a good place to start. However, that's not the case for you as you're doing this and like jumping into multiplayer stuff, right? Right. Nice. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.